you're fine with the flow as it is, right? Like you don't want to just like hit a question, go.
No, that's the whole point, is to like get in, conversate, right?
Yeah, and I'm trying to leave space for you to drive it. So if you want to shut me up, shut me up.
You're doing fantastic. I'm loving it. This is not about me, it's about you.
Just because we can.
Just because we can. All right, we're here at the Mackie headquarters with Matt, and we're actually lucky enough to be recording on the new Mackie equipment for podcasting. Do you want to jump into it?
Yeah, let's go. I mean, for those that don't know Mackie, right? Like we make pro audio equipment, mixers, speakers, all that stuff. So we met at a podcast movement event.
Yes, we did.
And I think I was as attracted to your podcast as you were to our gear, because I just thought, that is so cool that you not just do the podcast, but you get this amazing drawing out of it. And
thank you.
I just love the concept, and I really hope the best for you.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, no, the same thing. And then I'd seen the gear and just even chatting, I was just like, oh, this is really cool. And the fact that you guys, I thought you were going to be somewhere in like LA or somewhere like that, and you guys are doing the big tour, and then you're like, oh, we're out here in Bothell, which is just probably about 10 miles from my house, sort of thing. I was like, that's crazy. Washington always surprised you with what it has here. You know what I mean? These worldwide brands that are just like tucked away a little bit.
It's true. I get it a lot. Like, Mackie's here? I live in Shoreline. Yep.
All right, let's jump into the first question. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
I am disgusted with pineapple on pizza. I think the two things do not belong anywhere near each other.
Two worlds should not mix. Yeah. I'm with you.
Well, I would go one further, and this is maybe my thing, but I hate pineapple. So it kind of makes it different.
What fruit do you like, though?
Well, I don't know. Apples, bananas. I'd probably, the only fruit that I would ever put on a pizza, avocado.
Avocado. Oh, yeah. I don't really see that as a fruit. That's just like a mush of a ball that's just sitting with a seed inside of it.
I don't know. Let's call it a fruit for the benefit of my argument here. That's the only thing remotely pineapple-like that's going to see its way to my pizza.
Yeah, I can't back that one either. I'm with no avocado, no pineapple. Okay. It's basically mine is just like basically a heart attack just on crust. Because it's just all meat and sauces. Yeah. Maybe a bit of onion.
And if I go that far, I get the meat sweats.
Yeah. I'm old enough now, I just get the sweats everywhere I go. Okay. Obviously, you work here at Mackie, but what do you do to pay the bills?
Well, working here at Mackie pays the bills, right?
What do you do here at Mackie?
So I'm the director of product management is the title. So I oversee our product roadmap, manage a couple of product managers, some industrial designers, the folks that control the look and feel of our products. And then, I work across the aisle with engineering to develop things, marketing to put the campaigns together, It's a really fun and rewarding gig, because if you love gear, if you love audio gear in particular, we make all sorts of it, and it's just, it's kind of a dream job, right?
Yeah.
Because not everybody gets the luxury of getting to own a brand's roadmap of products, and it's exciting.
Well, especially such a worldwide brand, right?
Yeah, I mean, Mackie's been around for almost 35 years, is globally distributed, multi-million-dollar brand.
And you've been here for 17 years, you were saying a little bit earlier.
Correct, yeah. And so, when I started at a much lower level, more of a product specialist
like
role.
Like, there's a person sweeping, you're like, hey!
Not quite.
Matt Damon of...
No, like prior to coming here, I had other sorts of random jobs. I sold hotel rooms. I duplicated microfiche. That's going to date me at one point.
What's microfiche?
It's, did you ever go to the library and they have these little machines where you put on basically binoculars and you go through these archived old newspaper articles?
I've seen them in movies, yeah.
Exactly. So... I don't think that exists anymore. But anyway, just random jobs that were all sort of technical in nature that eventually led me to one that was in music and audio. And
you play music, right? And so you've been doing that for years and years.
That
what
was my
instruments
origin.
do you play?
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I picked up the acoustic guitar, and I thought, man, this'll take a while to learn, these songs that I like, and I ended up having a faster, higher aptitude for it, and within the first month of owning a guitar, I'd written my first song, and so
no way.
I got the bug early that music is going to be an important part of my life, and that's what started the playing in bands and being playing all over Seattle or wherever you could get gigs.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it would have been like playing in Seattle when were you doing this, in the 80s, 90s?
Well, this would have been sort of right on the heels of the grunge wave.
Yeah.
Like I was in high school when the grunge wave was kind of prominent.
Yeah.
And at that age, that sort of played into my influences too, the kind of music that I played, and the fact that I was in Seattle, and it was a big deal to me to someday, play shows in Seattle.
Yeah, like the Crocodile Cafe or something like that.
Yeah, Croc, Central, all these places, and I got to play a lot of them.
Wow.
Which was fun, and even
just
got
life checks, boom, boom. Like my friends I'm in a podunk town all the way in Western Australia.
Yeah.
And we knew about that stuff, like some of the venues here. So when my friends come through, they're like, hey, can we go past like where the Crocodile Cafe was or like any of this sort of stuff? And I'm like, sure, let's try and find it. Because I love music, but my friends were like the music people that would like, hey, try this new band. Like Black Keys first come out, and they're like, oh yeah, try this band. I'm like, oh yeah, let's try it. Like Crumbin just like, that my mate hooked me up, said, you've got to listen to this. Now I'm obsessed with them. I'm not the finder, I'm the giver or the taker.
Right. Well, yeah, and venues like the Croc, it's like, you'll see a band there once or twice, and then the next time they come through town, they're in the Paramount or the Moore, right? Like it's one of those famous venues because it births, a lot of famous bands and stuff.
Yeah. So, funny story though, I have owned 3 guitars. I cannot play any music.
Right.
Every time I got it, I'd be like, I got an acoustic bass, and I'm like, yep, got an acoustic guitar, because I was right into like Jack Johnson, Ben Harper, Donovan Frankenrider, all those sort of guys. And then I was like, yeah, let me get into this. I just couldn't get it. I just didn't click with me. Yeah. And then when I got older, I was like, you know what? Now that I've got my kids, I'm going to like get an electric guitar. I'm going to just start playing like little bits of music. I'll learn like nursery rhymes for them. That's how I get involved. Picked it up, started playing it. Then I had a kid, and I was like, oh, I don't have enough time to put you in. So that sat to there. So I still own them all with the dream.
I went through that phase. Like, so when my daughter was born was actually when I stopped playing in bands and recording music, because I sort of deliberately wanted to spend all of my time at home and with my kids. Yeah. But, after 5 or 6 years of her being around, and then the pandemic started, that's when I ended up picking up guitar again, because I couldn't go anywhere. And so, I just started, instead of starting where I left off, which was playing like all original music and the whole band thing, I just started learning other people's tunes and, transposing them into my key or my style and restylizing them. And so, that's been fun, because it's doing music like as therapy. I'm doing it for myself.
For yourself,
instead of, putting all this work in, booking gigs, going to the gigs, lugging your equipment around. It's just purely the enjoyment side of it. And so that's been super rewarding.
So, but let's just backtrack a little bit. When you started 17 years ago, you said you started at a lower level. Can you just give us a little run through on what it was like building up in such a company?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so when I was playing in bands, so I had also gone to the Art Institute of Seattle to learn how to mix audio and become closer to that side of it. And so, before I even worked at Mackie, I was already building up a skill set to not just be a musician, but also be a mix engineer. Yeah. And I ended up using that to, mix sound at other people's weddings or do whatever. So you collect enough experience as a recordist or as an event supporting person that it made sense, and I happened to live with a guy that was a product specialist at this company. And so when an opportunity came up to come work at Mackie and just travel around and talk about equipment. It kind of seemed like a dream job.
Yeah.
Because I could finally take everything that I knew and loved about music and audio and get paid for it. Unlike playing original music in downtown Seattle, right? So, yeah. And so when I started, too, it was, I had known Mackie as an outsider of this brand that, Greg Mackie started in the late 80s. That was just that. They made mixers, they made speakers, whatever. When I joined the company, they were actually, they were under new ownership. Greg had sold the company, and the new ownership was accumulating other brands. So, so the great part of that was I had access to brands like Crate, guitar amps, Alvarez acoustic guitars, Ampeg bass amps. I got to play like prototype Ampeg bass amps right off of the line that were hand tested in the U.S. Like, EAW, Martin Audio, they make stadium grade studio speakers. So our breadth was sort of everywhere, and I got a lot of exposure to the industry and these other brands and companies.
Yep.
But in the time since then, what's been really exciting is as I've kind of been growing in my role from product specialist up into product management and eventually into where I'm at now, which is overseeing the roadmap. The company, over time, eventually sold to new ownership and begun selling off those other brands. And so the really cool part for me now in hindsight, looking back at all those years, is that, just like when Mackie was getting started and becoming this world famous brand that everybody was excited about, it feels again like we're kind of in a new chapter of that. We're on our own. The brands aren't competing for engineering resources to develop my thing first, right? So, the culture's great. Revenue growth has been great. And then what we've been focusing on expanding into has been great, right? Because Mackie has always been very musician and audio engineer focused, but with what started as the democratization of music making, with people being able to afford equipment that they can make music at home, has also evolved into affordable equipment that you can make a podcast from home or live stream or whatever. So turning our attention to that breadth of users has been great too, because then we get to serve creators of all kinds. And one thing I like about it is just that, Mackie came in from the pro audio angle as a mixer company. And I think that gives the brand a lot of credibility in the space that, other brands who maybe haven't been making mixers for decades
they're just jumping in and being like, hey, we can buy this from a place in China, and then we just slap our name on it. I see that all the time with many things, like in skateboarding, whatever.
No, it's true. And that's one of the exciting parts about working, I think, for any company like this, is that we have a focus on innovation. We have captive engineering. We come up with unique concepts to, existing problems, whether it's,
Well, your knowledge base just runs so deep. So you can be like, oh, we could pull in this thing that we use over here for, this is an idiot's perspective, but it's something we use over here for electric guitars, but we could use that same thing over here for the podcast, or how they...
And we call it leveraging, right? Like, you've developed a piece of technology that can be used for a different user. Great. But, but then there's also like, wait a minute, nobody's solving the problem in this way, right? Coming up with completely innovative solutions.
So how do you come up with those questions? Like, are you out market researching, or how do you figure out what a podcaster needs versus what a person that's doing an amazing 5-minute solo on a stage with massive speakers needs to solve?
We do what you do: interview people, right? So part of my company's role, there's the qualitative part of it. You can do research to figure out, like, what is the addressable market? Oh, it's tens of millions of dollars, blah blah blah. But that's very different from, what do you own and what do you hate about it? Like, what can I, well, there's what you like about it, we're going to do that. And then there's like, how do you wish it was different and better? And so a lot of what we do, we shorten it to IDIs, but it's in-depth interviews, and it's to understand somebody's setups. What do they like? What are their pain points? And then we'll show them some concepts. Which of these things do you think would appeal to you, more than the other? And we also pull in users for beta testing too, right? So if we have a product in development, we're going to loan it to somebody. Let's say it's a speaker or something. They can go take it to a gig and report back to us before we ship it, right? So
how do you filter through? Because I feel like you put what's the saying? You put 1,000 monkeys in a room and they can write an essay or something like that. Yeah. But if you ask so many people, like, I feel like they're going to give you all different answers. How do you filter that down to be like, this is what they're all sort of talking about?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of, I mean, that's subjectivity. Yeah. There's, one of the things that I think good product managers try to do is remove the ego from it, right? So your job isn't to like develop what you want, it's to represent voice of customer. But there's also, part of the reason that you have the gig of product manager is because you've also been using this equipment your whole life. You understand the use cases. And so it's really just a balancing act between, the things that I think and feel are right, but without getting too married to those or like selling them to somebody. It's like when we do our interviews, I don't want to taint the data pool. I kind of just want to show you the thing, and then you'll tell me what you like or dislike about it without me telling you. And that really informs the iterations that we'd want to make,
Yeah. That I think that makes for a good product. But there's also that fine line of what what the person might be like, hey, I think this is best. And you're like, well, actually, the tech or the hardware doesn't that, or the cost of use of like what it does. We've got to find that happy medium, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, I think customer interviews are a tool in building your internal confidence that you're going to have a hit, but you can never guarantee.
No.
I mean, they say something like 2 in 10 of your products are going to be hits, and no matter how hard you try to, just like a songwriter, not every song's going to be a hit single, even though you put the same amount of effort into it.
Unless you're Beyonce somehow.
Yeah, right. Somehow.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Speaking of Beyonce, is there a song that makes you want to dance?
A song that makes me want to dance. So part of the reason I think that I am a musician and I have chosen the musician life is, and I've said this on stage to people, we like it when you dance because it gives us something to watch. Then I don't have to dance. I can just sit there and hold my guitar. Like I'm the guy who will occasionally dance only at weddings, only when a certain level of intoxicated. I would much rather play music for you than dance in front of you anytime.
I'm all about I try and have a dance party at my house all the time. I turn the music up and getting it going, trying to get it going. But my kids are just like, stop being a dork, Dad. Get out of here.
Your kids are always going to think you're lame. Everything you say.
Oh, yeah.
Your dance moves.
My son's preteen now, and he's just like, oh, you're so embarrassing. And I'm like, but I can be more embarrassing if you want.
Yeah.
What do you do for fun outside of Mackie? But I feel like I'm going to know the answer.
Well, so I don't know if you said that because of you think I still play music or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess there's that part of it too. But stuff that I really enjoy. So I use the phrase "chicken farmers don't eat chicken" a lot, and because of what I do for a living, I need a break from it. Like, how people like to go to concerts for fun?
Yeah.
I design gear for concerts. So it's not all like I feel like I'm at work a lot of times when I go do stuff like that. So so I do play music for pleasure and and fun and emotional fulfillment, but not necessarily with any sort of goal of
intent.
Becoming famous for doing it or anything anymore. Right? Like, certainly back in my 20s, it was different. But yeah, I mean, other stuff that I enjoy outside of that, barbecuing, get me on a boat. Like,
do you have a boat?
No, but
I just got friends with boats.
Friends with boats, and the desire to someday own one. But,
I feel
that. But
to
me, it's kind of the opposite. Like, in order for me to come back to my job refreshed, I need to go do something that's completely different from my job.
So I used to skate all the time, and I then worked in a skate shop, and I found that my skating went further down because I was working in a skate shop. Then when I started working as a web designer, I was like, I just want to get out and skate. That's all I want to do. Yeah. Because I was just talking and I was just inundated with skate stuff all the time. I was like, I need a break and remove from that. Yeah. I feel you.
Totally.
All right. What is your favorite animal?
The pygmy marmoset.
The pygmy marmoset.
So if I broaden it, I'll just say anything in the tiny monkey category.
Oh, yeah. But is that the one with the white face and the little...
They're the ones that are like size of your hand, tiny little old people monkeys. They're almost like too small to be a monkey.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not love a tiny monkey?
Do you know how many people say dogs? And I'm like,
sure.
and I'm like, hang on, you've got to choose any animal in this world, like a giraffe, a platypus, anything. But yes, I'm glad that like someone has picked something that is a.
I mean, the first place my brain went was my cat, but I'm like, you know what? I bet you get a lot of repeat answers. And I'm not lying when I say pygmy marmoset. I had to think about it for a minute, but send me to the zoo and I'll go back to that exhibit 3 times in the same day.
That's actually probably one of the questions I'll change that one too, is like, what exhibit do you go visit at the zoo first?
Right. Favorite animal at the zoo. That way you don't get dog, right?
Yeah. But dogs are still fun because people are like, oh, this is why I like the dog. It's like digging into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always like the interesting animals out there. There's just so many. Like everyone's like, I love unicorns. I'm like, there's fucking rhinoceroses out there. They've got a horn on their head.
Right?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Anyway, which story of yours do you wish everyone automatically knew?
Oh, that's interesting. I'd have to think for a minute on that one.
That's okay. I can edit out the pause so you can be like,
yeah. No, let me think for a minute. A story of mine, like something that I've accomplished or...
Whatever you want it to be. Like, so when sometimes I'm like, I've had a car accident where I shattered my face, like eyeball sunk in the back of my head, 2 reconstruction surgeries. Ugh. Not that I want people to just know that story. I'm like, there's never a reason to bring it up, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's I think it's fun.
Because you lived.
Yeah, exactly. So I can like make jokes about it instead of like, but it's like one of those things where I just sort of like, you sort of just wish people sort of, I don't know, knew off the top of your head. Yeah. Like, or a personality trait if you want.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm gonna answer the question kind of indirectly, like I guess so this is more of a fun fact about myself.
Yeah, sure.
So one of the things I've long had is just sort of a musical ear. I mean, that kind of goes back to the stuff we were talking about before. So whether it's listening to something and instantly knowing how to hit the 3rd or the 5th harmony, or translate a note on a guitar to a frequency that it's, a loudspeaker, right? Like that's So it's all stuff that I take for granted but I think it also all sort of plays into, I think, people who play music theory and understand audio and can relate the two to one another are very well positioned for a job designing loudspeakers and studio monitors, because you have a balance. Yeah. And many musicians will never ever learn how to mix a show. Yeah. And people who design loudspeakers, half of them or more, don't play an instrument. And so I've just always kind of felt like maybe that's what makes me a unicorn, is having a kind of balance of both sides of it.
Or rhinoceros.
Or a pygmy marmoset.
Or a pygmy marmoset. That's interesting, because when I see people tune a guitar and just by ear, I'm like, that does not make sense to me. Like, I just cannot get it.
And it's and so it's something that I innately have that I take for granted, and like kind of like anything else, like we're speaking English to each other. Yeah. I just assume that everyone can do that, can tune a guitar in their sleep, right? And so anyway, it's something that I have to stop myself and think about. Like, I have to speak to this person a different way because they don't have the same skill set. Yeah. And so I won't say the 3rd or the 5th because they don't know what
you're talking about.
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah. Is that so? Would you say, is that like having one of those like pitch perfect ears, like sort of thing, or?
There may be a pitch perfect element to it. It's more, for me, I would say I have, there's the relative element is, relative pitch is more important. So like no matter what the root note is, I can tell you what the 3rd is, even if the root note is technically not in tune, right?
Okay.
And then another part of it is like I've fingered that guitar chord, hey now, so many times that when I hear it on a record, like I know exactly. If the instrument is guitar, I can hear exactly what notes and strings they're hitting. Okay. And also translate that to, the low E on an acoustic guitar is 80 hertz, and so therefore this product needs to go down to 80 hertz or whatever.
Oh, so wow!
That kind of stuff.
You just blew my mind. Like I would never put that together. That's amazing.
Right. Well, and that's
why you are where you are.
That's what's kept me here for 17 years too, right? Like I feel like it's a good fit. I enjoy it as much as I think they benefit from having me.
Yeah. That's amazing. Man, I wouldn't think that. All right. If you were going to take me out to your favorite place to eat, where would we go?
Well, there are many places in the world, but if I was gonna just take you into my life and introduce you into you're gonna join my routine, then you would come with me every Friday to eat at 5 Bistro in Edmonds, Washington.
Oh, wow.
It does not advertise itself as a pizza restaurant, but they have the best pizza in the world.
Ooh, okay. And, that's a big statement.
And even if you're not a pizza person,
yeah.
It's great people, great fun. They've got indoor, outdoor areas.
Yeah.
It's just a routine that we love that every week, for me anyway, ends with pizza and beer. And it's just a staple.
That's a good way to end the week, no matter what. What is something that you have overcome that makes you proud?
Well, I guess on the personal side, I feel like over the years I've just kind of softened and grown and matured a lot, right? Like I think a lot of young people, whether they recognize it or not, you can have negative traits or whatever. And I was always, chippy attitude issues, stuff like that. And so I think addressing, maturing, growing some of that stuff, whether through therapy or self-education or just thinking and caring about it. That's been important to me, is just to try to develop myself into the person that I want to be. I want to be liked. I want to, so.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah.
And then just another one is, even though it's been like 7 or 8 years now, I quit smoking all these years ago.
You?
And so that was like a life change that I have zero regrets about.
Yeah.
Right?
So I've never had a cigarette. I grew up in a household that I secondhand smoked like a chimney because I had no choice. But I never had the desire to smoke. Yeah. But I've always been impressed when people quit smoking, because I feel like it's everything about you it's almost like a personality trait. Like as a smoker, like your hand gestures, the way you talk. Oh, we can go outside and let's have a conversation, have a smoke together. You know what I mean? Yeah. How did you break that habit? Cold turkey?
It was a combination. So there was a gradual element to it where I stopped smoking in my car or whatever. Little steps here and there. But in the end, it was sort of a part intentional, part happy accident. Like in the era where e-cigarettes were the new thing, I decided I'm going to stop inhaling physical smoke into my lungs from burning this plant and try this new thing instead. And the result was I didn't enjoy e-cigarettes. It didn't like the taste. It wasn't quite the same.
Didn't hit you the
but
same.
Instead of allowing myself to go back, I just sort of punted on my desire to smoke, right? Like I want to smoke, but my only choice is this e-cigarette. I'm not going to do that. And once I made it through a day and I said, that's day one, then it just kept going. Then it was the sheer willpower thing.
Yeah, far out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Man, well, what are 3 things that you are grateful for?
So quick interruption. We've got about 3 minutes till we're supposed to relinquish this room.
Okay. Do you want to crank these out real quick?
So let's try that.
Okay. What are 3 things that you are grateful for?
Well, my family, like my wife, my daughter, my cat, all that, my home life. I love my career. I love doing what I do at Mackie, making audio equipment for a living. And I love the fact that I'm playing music again. I stopped playing music during the pandemic, and I picked up my guitar again recently. And it's just so nice to have music in my life for pleasure instead of the grind.
The grind. That's awesome. You have to wear a shirt for a year, and it has a slogan on it. What does that slogan say, other than "Buy Mackie"?
I know, right? So I'm gonna answer that question the opposite way, which is one of the things that throws me off a lot is when people wear shirts that advertise a brand of pants.
Okay.
I will never be the guy who rocks a Levi's t-shirt.
That's true.
I'm just saying.
That's a funny thought. I've never thought of that.
Have you ever thought about baby crows? No, you haven't. You've never seen one. No. But now you're thinking about it.
Like where's the baby crow? I've never seen one. You're right. Far out. Yeah. now I'm really trying to think. You threw me off there.
Sorry.
So what's your slogan?
Oh, what is my slogan?
Find your baby crow.
I tend to be a bit of a skeptic, and so I'll make a song reference. I can't go for that.
You can't go for that?
I can't go for that.
Okay. Where's the song reference from?
Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates. Oh,
I can't go for that. No.
Oh, wow.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I will. I'll check it out. All right. Well, Matt, thank you so much for being on the pod, and I'll get a drawing off to you, and we'll see how it all goes. Thanks for letting me record on your equipment as well.
No, for sure. Thanks so much for doing this, and I really hope you and your channel go super far because it's an awesome concept.
Thank you so much. I'm so stoked.
Right on.
Thank you.
You bet. Cool. Well, fuck. Unfortunately,
yes,
because of the failure to record.